Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments, such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org. Idaho is a big state, and it covers a lot of territory. Idaho Matters wants to take you to every corner of the Gem State by visiting all 44 counties, and we need your help to do that. Email us your story ideas at idahomatters@boisestate.edu for our new series we're calling Idaho 44. And be sure to join us each weekday at noon and 8 on Idaho Matters and travel the state with us.
From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Samantha Wright, filling in for Gemma Gaudette. It's Idaho Matters. Baroque music is an art form. It's been around for centuries, and it's often written to create emotions in the listener. The Boise Baroque Orchestra is on a mission to keep the music alive and to encourage young musicians to learn about the art form and continue this tradition. Logan Anderson is Boise Baroque's new general manager, and he's written a very special Baroque-style arrangement of our very own Idaho Matters theme song, which was originally written and produced by Boise musician Will Hall. We wanted to debut that arrangement here today, so let's take a listen. Wow, that was incredible. Okay, that was our very own Idaho Matters theme song, originally written and produced by Boise musician Will Hall, arranged in the Baroque style by Boise Baroque's new general manager Logan Anderson. It was played by Don Duthit on violin, Catherine Jarvis on violin, Laura Feo Fernandez on viola, and Brian Hodges on cello. Also in studio today, we've got guest conductor Daniel Wiley and Boise Baroque's new general manager, Logan Anderson. Everybody, thank you so much for being here today and for playing the wonderful theme song. And you're going to play some more things. The orchestra is in the middle of its summer music festival. We wanted a preview. We wanted to hear some music, and we're going to jump right in. So, Daniel, yes, your guest conducting. Can you give us a little introduction to what we're going to be hearing?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here. We're so excited to share Baroque music. We think it's super special and exciting. What we've got for you today is a dance suite by a guy named Georg Philipp Telemann, and it's called La Bizarre. And you might be thinking, that sounds like a bizarre title, and guess what it means? Yes, so it's likely attributed to the fact that it's got some quirky elements to it, very playful and kind of surprising. And it's written for strings, which thankfully we have in studio here today. Nice. And it's a collection of stylized dances that were more for listening rather than for actually dancing. But it's a format in music that we find especially important in the Baroque era. So we're going to be starting with the courant, which is basically just a French word for running. It's in a triple meter. That means there are 3 big beats, and it's kind of got a graceful flow to it. So if you're ready.
Nice. All right. You're hearing members of the Boise Baroque Orchestra playing selections from Telemann's La. I'm just going to say bizarre. I'll never do it right. Daniel Wiley is guest conducting the orchestra for the summer series. I wanted to ask you, Daniel, about Telemann. I know one or two composers in the Baroque style.
Sure.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, and you might not be alone, right? The name is, when we think about the big composers, we think of people like Bach or Mozart or Beethoven. Telemann doesn't necessarily come up in our everyday lives, does it? But there's a couple of interesting things about Telemann, is that actually during his time, he was incredibly popular and he had a lot of respect during his time. So it's interesting how popularity shifts as we travel through time. And he's popular for a couple of reasons. The first is that his output is incredible, meaning the number of pieces that he wrote, somewhere around the tune of 3,000.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of music, right? And so he's got a ton of music, and he's really adept at blending styles. So in this era, a lot of the music, how it was written and how it was presented, was based on two factors. Where it was being presented. So if it was in a church, or if it was in a court, or if it was in, say, maybe more of a public square, that dictated how the music presented itself. But more importantly is what region it came from. So the French music sounded one way, the Italian music sounded a different way, the German, Prussian music sounded a completely different way. And Telemann was very adept at taking all of these different styles and weaving them together. And that's why he was so popular at the time, is that, we talk about the function of music in today's society is bringing people together, right? Like that's what we do. That's what we're trying to do this summer. It was the same thing back then. And so he was able to bring people together and say, you know what, even if you're from this region, I've got a little something for you. Or, hey, let me bring a little bit of Italy here to France. And so you can get a little flavor of that. And that was immensely popular. So maybe not a household name, but maybe should be.
Wow, 3,000.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I could just imagine this fellow just did nothing but write all day. I think it's fascinating. Daniel, tell us about you. Your guest conducting. Little background?
Yeah, of course. Well, first and foremost, this is a little bit of a homecoming for me. So I'm a graduate of Boise State University in music education, and then I taught at Fairmont Junior High School, and I taught choir. And I like to tell people that I survived teaching junior high choir. No, I had a blast. But currently, I'm wrapping up my tenure as the assistant conductor of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. I'm the associate conductor of the Kansas City Symphony, and then I've got 3 orchestras of my own that I'm the music director of. I know. Salisbury Symphony, it's outside of Charlotte, Anderson Symphony, which is outside of Indianapolis, and the West Valley Symphony outside of Phoenix. So as you can imagine, much like Telemann, I keep myself pretty busy.
I was going to say, you're just right up there with him, at least an hour's worked every day.
But so a couple of things. One, I'm so grateful that I get to come back to Boise, making music with these musicians. A lot of them are old friends, old colleagues, and some of them even old professors. So please don't ask them about my grades. It's a delicate topic. But the artistic director, Robert Franz, asked me to step in, and he and I are so close. He's been a longtime mentor and friend, and so I'm so grateful that I get to be here and make music with all of you.
Well, let's make some more music.
Yeah,
Tell
let's
us
do
about
it.
the next piece.
So the next movement is a next dance is a gavotte, and it's the best way to describe it is cheerful, sort of moderate tempo, sort of what you would think about walking to, and it usually starts out with half of a bar. So don't worry, there's not a test at the end, but imagine as if you were going to start walking. But your first step, you hopped on a leg twice, okay? So there's almost the sense of you're starting in the middle of a sentence, right? And, we were talking a little bit about how these pieces were used. This actually has a real sort of rustic peasant origin to it, and then it was adapted to the court. So the people on court said, you know what, I really like that. Maybe we should steal it and use it in court. And so what you get is the gavotte.
You're hearing members of the Boise Baroque Orchestra playing live selections from Telemann's La Bazaar, including Don Douthit, that's twice I've done it wrong, sorry Don, on violin, Catherine Jarvis on violin, Laura Feo Fernandez on viola, and Brian Hodges on cello. Also in studio today are guest conductor Daniel Wiley and Boise Baroque's new general manager Logan Anderson. Logan, hi, welcome back.
Hey, Samantha, thanks for having me.
Can you talk about your summer music festival? You're already in it. What are you playing besides Telemann?
That's right. So we are 1 week into our festival. We had two wonderful performances at First Presbyterian Church on Saturday and the Chateau de Flore on Sunday, where we got to hear symphony by Mozart. We got to hear opera. And this weekend is all about Bach and some great music happening there. I can have Daniel talk more about the program, of course, in details, but we are so excited to be really in the middle of our season. Next week also is our Baroque Summer Institute, where we'll be joined by high school students from here in Treasure Valley, as well as a student traveling from Oregon. And they're going to join us on a program of French music. They're going to join us on Francois-Joseph Gossic's Symphony in D at the Saturday evening concert at First Presbyterian Church. And it's going to be an amazing opportunity for the students to be able to play side by side with the members of Boise Baroque Orchestra and to learn from these professional musicians.
I know that getting kids involved is very important to what you do. And I read that at these concerts, you have a musical petting zoo. What is
That is
that?
right. At our Sunday concerts at the Chateau de Flore, the concert starts at 8:15, but the grounds are open at 6, where people can picnic, play lawn games, and, of course, try instruments at the petting zoo. We've got a trumpet, trombone, clarinet, flute, saxophone, violin, viola, cello, and all of these instruments are courtesy of our friends at Dunkley Music, and we've got a helper there at the table. They can take the kids through. They can hold the instruments. They can play the instruments. We have proper sanitization for those instruments. And it's just a great chance to get those instruments into the hands of, hopefully, future musicians.
Why is that so important to you?
Education of children is important to this organization for many reasons. It's really central to what we do. Not only do we want to train a future generation of music players, but we also just would love to have an entire generation of music appreciators and listeners. In that same vein, in addition to providing education at our Orchestral Institute next week, all children and 14 and under are free of charge to all of our concerts. So it's a great activity, especially those Sunday concerts at the Chateau, just a great activity for families.
Well, and I think we're talking about the concerts, and we mentioned this before we got on the air. You've got two kinds this year. You've got inside a church and outside on the lawn. And Daniel, I'm thinking about what you were talking about, where you pick the music to fit, where you are.
Well, right. And it's interesting, too, because the two experiences that we have, the two experiences that we offer, are actually quite different. Inside of First Pres Church, which is, of course, this. I used to be the choir director there, by the way, so it's also another homecoming for me. But it's this incredible acoustical space that is, it's a little more traditional. It's a little bit more just music-centric, right? So you really get sort of that real pure sound. And then out at the Chateau, it's like strung up lights. You're in this garden. It's like a garden party, actually, is the way I like to describe it. And I think emphasis on the word party. I mean, we had our concert this past weekend, and it was an absolute blast. We had so much fun, and I know what you're thinking to yourself, Baroque music and fun. Just wait. We had an absolute blast. But, I want to jump on what Logan said really quickly, as being a former teacher and the importance of this institute. Supporting music education and arts for our youth is so incredible, not only because, as Logan mentioned, we're looking to develop not only future musicians and future appreciators of art, but we also are building human beings, right? We're trying to build more complete human beings. And art, and especially music, is one of the most potent ways to do that. And, thinking about this music, which was written, however, hundreds of years ago, it still has an impact on us today. So there's something about that shared human experience that's really sort of key and important. And I think what's really been so great, and I'm just a guest here, so I'm, stepping into this, but it's so clear to me that this organization is so dedicated to its community and what music can do for its community. And I think that's something really special.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's have another piece. What is this one
Okay.
going to be,
All
Daniel?
right. So I believe this is our last one. Yeah. So I hear that all the best things come in twos, and so does this. And this is called a minuet. It's probably the most famous dance style that we have in Baroque music. And typically they come in pairs, and they're supposed to be contrasting. So if one is a little more sung, the other's a little more sprightly, or vice versa. And, with all of these pieces, it's important to remember, too, that everything gives a sense of motion. It's what we call a dance suite. Whether people are actually dancing or not, the music elicits that movement. And so you'll hear two different types of movement with each of these minuets.
All right. Here we go.
This is the Idaho Matters podcast. I'm Gemma Gaudette.